most respected Dr. Bismi, Chair of the session, Professor Dr. Inaugural, Bismi, Principal in Charge, Government Law College, Inaugural, Sri Menuse, President of Single Samiti, or rather the organization which becomes the voice of the voiceless, Dr. Prinsa, Sri Nandan, Chairperson, Students Union, Government Law College, Inaugural, Parvati, Sinsi, and all the esteemed faculties of Mahinsa, all the esteemed faculties of Government Law College, Inaugural, research scholars, students. So, actually, when my dear Bindumul calls me, it's always an yes and it's not a no. So, and I'm so happy that I'm being associated with, I think it's a first endure as the term of principal, as she took over the charge of the principal of Government Law College, Ernakulam. This is the first workshop that she's organizing, and I'm so happy that she remembered me and called me, and I'm really happy that I could participate in this workshop. So basically, this as the title itself, the national workshop, that is Invisible Barriers, Reproductive Justice, Disability and the Questions for Autonomy. What I basically feel is that women with disabilities, the women find themselves at the nexus of multiple layers of marginalism and vulnerability. That's basically what I feel. Because if we just trace out the history and cultures, we find that the persons with disability have been viewed as objects of charity and requiring social protection. And women, especially, they are being treated as second-class citizens in this particular. And definitely women, they have to face multiple challenges, because being a woman in a patriarchal society and the disability itself. So that creates a little bit of problem. And often women, they have to bear the weight of stereotypes and discriminations stemming from, as already stated by Dr. Gopalakrishnan, intersection of gender bias, ableism, that is what we are actually frequenting, the ableism concept, and the social misconceptions that render them invisible and voiceless. So this sort of issues, it permeates every dimension in their lives, in the questions of sexuality, reproductive rights and sexual autonomy. So basically in this context, especially, both of us are dealing with medical law and healthcare law, and when it comes to reproductive rights and the disability rights of women, we find that women are perceived as devoid of identity and femininity, sexuality and companionship, and are deprived of opportunities of motherhood. So the challenges and the dilemmas that encountered by them and their caregivers are countless. For example, training for menstrual hygiene, for sex education, marriage and procreation, contraception, antenatal care, consent for cesarean delivery, breastfeeding advice, their role and responsibilities of mother, safety of the child, the permanent sterilization. So, and when a person, especially a woman, is disabled, their only identity that gets prominence or is seen by the society is that of disability, nothing else. So they aren't just students, they're not people in love, they're not a sister, they're not a mother. The only marker is disability, and as if nothing exists in the personality. So it is important for different movements to come together to look at this particular point and the issues faced by women with disabilities. And the women's movement, the disability movement, as well as sexual rights movements need to share these concerns that is faced by the women, and to learn from each other and to move forward. So I do hope that this intellectually rich event will address these deeply intertwined issues of reproductive rights, sexuality, and the lived experiences of people with disabilities, particularly through the lens of gender justice. So, because all of us are very familiar with the term ableism, or rather the systematic privilege of being able-bodied individuals in the society. And when we are able-bodied, the law, the policy, the social perception, everything stands with us. But there is also a tendency of silencing those with disabilities. So that let this workshop help to debunk the myths and foster conversations that are inclusive, rights-based, and transformative. And let us hope that women with disabilities will not be subjected to numerous forms of oppression, that is especially the coerced sterilization or the suppression of menstrual and sexual expression. The poorly managed pregnancies, forced abortions, inadequate parent care, loss of termination of parental rights. As commented by, as aptly remarks by Professor Bindubol, in the case of Sujitra Srivastava versus Chandigarh administration in 2009, we could see that how the views of Punjab and Haryana High Court for termination of pregnancy of an orphaned woman with intellectual disability who was housed at a government-run welfare institution took off. So the pregnancy, as all of us know, it came as a result of a rape, and the administration argued that the woman's intellectual disability and the absence of parental or guardian support for herself or the potential child, the termination of pregnancy was the most practical course of action. Now we could find that Supreme Court taking an entirely different stand, and the Supreme Court overturned the decision of the High Court and held that pregnancy could not be terminated without the consent of the pregnant woman with intellectual disability. So it is pertinent to note that even as recently now, we find that courts are considering the distinction between the same rights that is applicable to a woman with intellectual disabilities and the rights that is available to a pregnant woman. So from the legal perspective, if we just evaluate, we find that the adoption of Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities has been hailed as marking a very significant movement across the world and in understanding the disability from medical to social and to human rights perspective. And again, we also have adopted the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act. So it guarantees a host of rights, that is including the rights to equality, then non-discrimination, protection and safety, access to justice, etc. But if you just evaluate UNCRP and RPWD, it's known that from the lens of women's rights, we find that there is a need of some sort of special provisions so that they can enjoy the rights equally. So the overall focus remains enhancing the educational and the other the employment opportunities. That is definitely needed, but from the perspective of autonomy, from the perspective of sexual and reproductive autonomy, something more has to be done as far as the legislation is concerned. So, and again, the concept of best interest will also be debated, understood, analyzed in this particular workshop, because the stand taken by the Bombay High Court in 2017, X versus Union of India, so it allowed termination of pregnancy on the basis of the best interest, and definitely deferring the decision of the guardian, the best interest concept was being given highly importance. And again, in 2022, we also have X versus Principal Secretary, Health and Family Welfare, wherein the Supreme Court has stated the right to a decisional autonomy means that women may choose the course of their lives. It is a woman alone who has a right over her body and is the ultimate decision maker on the question of whether she wants to undergo an abortion. So, in the realm of sexual and reproductive rights, court is underscored or drafted the canvas of rights that is available to women. And definitely, it is a statement that women do possess the autonomy to make decisions regarding these rights without coercion or violence. So we have plenty of rights, we have plenty of grey areas to discuss, and especially from the perspective of Article 21. So, translating all these grey areas into glittering lights and definitely understanding pouring more light into this area. I wish all the very best to this workshop, and expecting that you will all come with changes which can be incorporated in the policies of our government. All the very best. Looking forward. Thank you.